Hello everyone, warm welcome once again. So I hope now the things are fine. You must be wondering, ki, sir, the class has been shifted twice, but I'm really very sorry. I'm not at my place from where I usually take the class. I'm somewhere else from where I'm taking the class. I'm here with my family due to some family issues. But ठीक है, personal life is going to be separate, and simultaneously we must have our responsibilities towards you all guys. So in order to achieve that, in order to fulfill the target, in order to help you guys so that we can cover the news, we remain up to date regarding our upcoming finance current affairs, here is the session which is live for you all. So before I start the discussion, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Please let me know in the comment section, I'm audible, visible, everything is fine, we are good to go, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Okay, all good. So without taking much time of yours, let's quickly complete this particular session. If you want to download the PDF of this session is available on my Telegram channel. You can scan the code and join the channel, and you can easily download the PDF. So today we have 5 news to cover, and all these 5 news are really very important, and that is the reason I was very eager from the since the morning that I should complete the session. I should cover all the news appropriately because all the news are really very important. I don't want to give you that gap कि ताकि फिर वो चीजें lined up हो जाएं and we are not in a position to complete it in the near future. ठीक है जी? चलो. So here we go with the first news. The first news talks about RBI has imposed monetary penalty on Union Bank of India. I don't know whether you are aware of this term or not, but we know that RBI, being the regulator of banking sector as per Banking Regulation Act 1949, RBI being the regulator for Payment and Settlement System Act 2007, RBI being the regulator of Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, RBI possesses the power where RBI can challenge, where RBI can target the banks if they are not fulfilling the acts, if they are not fulfilling the norms appropriately. First thing. Second thing which is important in this context is, which is again really very important, the second point is, whenever a bank or a financial institute which is regulated by RBI, that means the regulated entities, if they are not fulfilling the RBI norms, RBI compliances, then penalty can be easily charged by RBI. So here on Union Bank of India, RBI has charged penalty of around 66 lakh rupees. So this value is important, which can be asked in the examination. More important is why the penalty is charged. So the penalty has been charged because of 2 reasons. First reason is Union Bank of India has not fulfilled the norms related to DEF. What is this DEF, sir? It is Depositors Education Awareness Fund. As per the RBI norms, once the bank's account are declared as unclaimed account. What is an unclaimed account? Sir, unclaimed account is basically the deposit account. Unclaimed account is basically the deposit account. The deposit account which is inactive for last 10 years. Once your account is inactive for last 10 years, then that account will be termed as unclaimed account. And what bank will do? So bank will withdraw the principal as well as interest in that unclaimed account, and that amount is credited into DEF, that is Deposit Education and Awareness Fund. And this account or this fund is maintained by RBI, and RBI use this fund for the purpose of financial awareness in order to provide financial literacy to the public, in order to safeguard the public from the scope of financial frauds. There is one more point. Because of increase in the count of these unclaimed accounts in the past, RBI has even initiated a portal, and that portal is basically termed as Udgam portal. Now my question is, Udgam portal stands for? What is the full form of Udgam portal? This is your homework you need to give me in the comment section after this class. We have already discussed in the past. I'm expecting that you will give me the answer. So Union Bank of India has not fulfilled the criteria which has been given by RBI for this unclaimed accounts, because of which Union Bank of India has been charged with a penalty of 66 lakh rupees by RBI. Not only this, the second reason is RBI has come up with certain norms, and as per these norms it is very clearly mentioned that if agriculture loan is given to the farmers, and that too it is given up to a value of 1.60 lakh rupees, then that loan amount should be collateral free. That means there should be no collateral, no security should be kept with the bank or should be kept with the lender as a security, as a safety. But Union Bank of India has asked the farmers to provide the collateral even if they are borrowing a loan amount of up to 1.6 lakh rupees, and due to this particular reason penalty has been charged by RBI. Not only this, RBI has also charged penalty on peer-to-peer lending framework, which we will be discussing. So Union Bank of India has charged penalty on RBI has charged penalty on Union Bank of India as well as on Lendbox. Lendbox is the brand name, which is a peer-to-peer lending platform, which is an NBFC, but the name of the company is Transitory Technologies Private Limited, and on both these authorities penalty has been charged by RBI. Penalty was 63.6 lakh rupees, which is imposed on Union Bank of India for not fulfilling DEF criteria as well as for calling for the security or collateral from the public, even if the loan amount or the agriculture loan amount is below 1.6 lakhs. The penalty has been charged, value of the penalty is 40 lakh rupees on Lendbox because of not fulfilling the compliances under NBFC peer-to-peer lending platform. Now, what do you understand by the word peer-to-peer lending platform? So it basically means, let's say there is an entity which has immense funds, and this entity wants to lend the funds, but it do not possess the license of NBFC or maybe a license of a bank, and this entity is not willing to provide loan directly in the market because it is a bit risky. On the other side, there is an entity who is looking forward for borrowings, who need the funds, but currently he is not in a position to complete the documentation which is required. It is not in the position to complete the documentation which is required. It is not in the position to complete the criteria, eligibility criteria, which is set by banks or I would say other regulated entities. Then in that particular case, these two entities, they reach to a platform where lender can lend, borrower can borrow, and that platform where lender and borrower they meet each other is known as peer-to-peer lending platform. So this NBFC which we are talking about, on which the penalty has been charged by RBI, this penalty has been charged by RBI. On this NBFC which is operating as a peer-to-peer lending platform. Now if you have a doubt, so what do you understand, what do you mean by the term DEF? DEF basically means Depositor Education and Awareness Fund. Depositor Education and Awareness Fund is basically an account which is maintained by RBI, and the funds in this particular account are used by RBI in order to spread financial literacy, in order to safeguard the public from financial frauds. So in this particular case, RBI utilized this fund for the financial literacy purpose, for increasing the financial literacy, financial awareness among the public in order to safeguard the public from the financial risk. So DEF, it was set up or it was established by RBI in 2014 to promote, as I said, financial literacy and promote awareness among the depositors regarding the unclaimed deposits. The fund serves as a mechanism for banks including Commercial Bank of India and Cooperative Bank of India. अगर आपका account inactive है, inactive का मतलब no balance check, no deposit, no withdrawal, no subsidy credit, nothing, no transaction has been done in past 10 years, then that account will be termed as unclaimed account, and once the account is declared as unclaimed account, then bank will transfer the entire amount to RBI's fund that is known as DEF. to the RBI's fund that is known as DEF. I hope it is clear to you. The next point which is important in this context, in this discussion, is what? Sir, let's suppose there is an individual who is holding a bank account, but if this individual passes away, then how the nominee or how the legal heir will be aware that yes, this individual has made me the nominee, or my father, my grandfather was having an account, but I'm not aware of it. How bank will inform the customer, or how bank will inform the nominee or legal heir? Then the answer is, in general, before your account is being declared as dormant account or inactive account or unclaimed account, every time bank reaches the customer in order to inform the current scenario of your account. How bank reaches? A bank throws text message on your registered mobile number. Bank even make a call on the registered mobile number. Bank even share the email on your registered email ID, and even you can expect the postal letter from the bank in order to inform you. अब मान लो किसी की डेथ हो गई और फिर उन्हें किसी लेटर के जरिए या मैसेज के जरिए पता चला कि आपका अकाउंट है इस बैंक में और वो अनक्लेम्ड होने वाला है. सो इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस द लीगल हियर का मतलब जो कानूनन कैपेबल है, हु इज अलाउड टू टेक द एंटायर असेट legally on the behalf of the individual who passed away, then that individual can reach to the bank, prove that he or she is the legal heir, and then bank will make that amount withdraw. Now, if the amount is still with the bank, then the withdrawal can be done. But if it is with RBI, then bank will raise the request on RBI and funds will transferred from the bank to the legal heir. But in case of nominee, if the nominee address and details are mentioned and they are correct, then bank will inform the nominee as well once the account is declared as unclaimed or the account is declared as inactive. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? But whenever we talk about the transfer of funds, कि भैया बैंक से पैसा ट्रांसफर हुआ और बैंक से पैसा आरबीआई के पास गया या किसी और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास गया, व्हेन आई वाज मेकिंग द नोट्स ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर सेशन, मेरे दिमाग में एक चीज आई थी, और मेरे दिमाग में जो चीज आई थी वो क्या? सब प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग. अगर आपको याद हो, एवरी बैंक, कमर्शियल बैंक, इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू लेंड 40% ऑफ इट्स एडजस्टेड नेट बैंक क्रेडिट into the priority sector lending. But if the priority sector lending limits or criterias are not fulfilled, then what will be the solution? So the solution is either bank can purchase and sell priority sector lending certificate, or bank will be asked to transfer the shortfall. Bank will be asked to transfer the shortfall to the concerned authorities. If I talk about the authority, sir, या तो आपका बैंक का जो shortfall है, it will be transferred to NABARD, or it will be transferred to NIDB, or it will be SIDB, or it will be transferred to NHB. अब क्वेश्चन ये है कि सर कौन कौन से अकाउंट्स में ये फंड्स ट्रांसफर किए जाते हैं. वन वी हैव इज RFID, दैट इज रूरल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट फंड, rural infrastructure development fund. After that we have UIDF, that is urban infrastructure development fund, and lastly we have that is micro small enterprises refinance fund, that is SEBI. अब आपको पता होगा priority sector lending में we have the limits for agriculture sector which is 18%, we have the limit for MSMEs, we have the limit for weaker section. So if you are not able to fulfill the limit for the respective sector, then in that particular case, or housing sector also, then in that particular case those shortfalls will be transferred either to RIDF, that is rural infrastructure development fund, or maybe to the other accounts of SIDB or NHB, and these shortfalls will be utilized by the concerned authorities for the development of the given sector. ठीक है, तो मेरे दिमाग में है इसीलिए मैंने शेयर किया आपके साथ. लेकिन द न्यूज इज वेरी सिंपल. यूनियन बैंक ऑफ इंडिया के ऊपर आरबीआई ने पेनल्टी चार्ज की. दूसरा, लैंड बॉक्स के ऊपर आरबीआई चार्ज द पेनल्टी. व्हाई द पेनल्टी वाज चार्ज, व्हाट इज द पेनल्टी वैल्यू, एंड व्हेन वी डिस्कस व्हाई द पेनल्टी वाज चार्ज, देयर वाज अ टर्म डेफ, एंड आई हैव मेड दिस टर्म डेफ आल्सो क्लियर टू यू. इफ इट इज क्लियर, गिव मी अ थम्स अप so that I can move on to the next news. The next news is related to, guys, I don't know whether you are aware of this point or not, that RBI is the regulator of payment and settlement system in the country, or I would say RBI is the regulator of retail payments, or I would say the digital payments which are happening in the country. So the whole and sole regulator of the digital payment in the country is none other than RBI, and this power is given to RBI under Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. Not only this, RBI is also the regulator of many of the authorities which are operating under digital payment system. For example, in last session, if you remember, in the last session itself, if you remember, we have discussed about a term that is known as payment aggregator. We have even discussed about the term that is payment gateway. So all these authorities, all these organizations which we are talking about, they all are regulated by RBI. Even the prepaid payment instruments which provide you with the instruments you can use to make the payments, all these are regulated by RBI, and even the licensing to these organizations is also done by RBI. So this gives the power to RBI to control the digital payments in the economy, and in order to do so, RBI has come up with the formation of PRB. What is this PRB? Guys, PRB stands for Payment Regulatory Board. So this payment regulatory board is basically the replacement of previously existing organization, and the previously existing organization was BPSS. What is this BPSS? Board for Payment and Settlement System. So this already existing board has been replaced. Now the question is, why this board has been replaced? What are the changes? What were the requirements of the changes? And how these needs are fulfilled with the help of Payment Regulatory Board? All these things will be discussed in this particular news itself. So let's begin the discussion, guys. So I would start my discussion with the first point. As I said, RBI is the regulator of Payment and Settlement System Act. RBI is the regulator of payment aggregators, payment gateways, prepaid payment instruments, and whatnot. Even the we can say the white label ATMs, all these are regulated by RBI. Even RBI comes up with the ombudsman scheme, and this scheme is basically helping RBI in order to resolve the public grievances, public issues against banks who are involved in digital payments, even the payment system participants who are providing the digital payment facility to the public. So in both the cases, if public has any complaint against bank, NBFC or payment system participant, then they can reach out to the integrated ombudsman scheme where the public complaint, customer complaint will be entertained. So in order to enhance the regulatory framework in India, RBI tries to provide reliable and effective digital payment ecosystem in the country. So this is the basic function of RBI. Now under this particular function, RBI, or under this particular function, as well as the powers being the regulator of digital payment sector in the country, as per Payment and Settlement System Act 2007, RBI has set up, or RBI has officially announced the formation of six-member board, and the name of the board is Payment Regulatory Board. Name of the board is Payment Regulatory Board, and this announcement has been done by RBI under Payment Regulatory Board Regulation 2025. Payment Regulatory Board Regulation 2025. क्यों बनाया गया सर? Basically to regulate as well as to supervise the payment systems in India. Regulate and supervise the payment systems in India. It has replaced the existing board. What is the name of the existing board? So that is Board for Regulation and Supervision of Payment and Settlement System in India. So this is the board which was already existing. Now this board has been replaced by RBI. Why this board has been replaced? First reason was, sir, if I talk about this particular board has the entire representation of RBI, and due to the entire representation of RBI, Government of India, or I would say the interministry which is involved in these digital payments directly or indirectly, they came up with the proposal that we should set up a separate board, and that separate board should not be under the purview of RBI. तो RBI ने कहा ये तो बिल्कुल गलत है. If I am the regulator of the payment system of the country. I am the one who is responsible for monetary policy making. I want to control the inflation. I want to control the payments. In that particular case, it cannot be possible, or it is not feasible to draw or to set up a separate board which is out of the purview of RBI. So conflict chalta gaya between the government as well as RBI, and then finally RBI has come up with a solution which is accepted by the government as well. So RBI ने क्या कहा, sir don't worry, you want, मैंने government को कहा, you want your interference, you want your involvement in this payment system, don't worry, we'll give you that. How? We are setting up a new board that is known as Payment Regulatory Board. This Payment Regulatory Board will be headed by RBI Governor, and currently RBI Governor is Sanjay Malhotra ji. Along with that, it will have 5 members. One will be the Deputy Governor, who is going to be the one, sir, out of four, the Deputy Governor who is the in charge of payment and settlement system, the name is T. Ravi Shankar. He is in charge of this department, and he will be obviously ex officio member of this particular board. Third is one of the RBI officer nominated from the central board of RBI. These are the 3 RBI officials. The same way we have 3 members in RBI, or we have 3 RBI members and 3 government members in case of Monetary Policy Committee. Similarly, here also the rest of the 3 members will be nominated by Government of India. So in order to include the government say, government presentation, government involvement in this payment system, RBI said don't worry, rather than setting up a board which will be out of the preview of RBI, I don't accept it. I'll restructure, I'll come up with a new regulatory body or a new regulatory board, and that board will have the representation from the government as well, or equal representation from the government as well as RBI, the same way we have done earlier in case of Monetary Policy Committee. Along with these 6 members, there will be expert participation. So PRB can invite experts in payment systems, information and technology, as well as experts in law, but there is one permanent invitee, and the permanent invitee is Principal Legal Advisor of RBI. So what I'm trying to say, 1 plus 5 is the membership. After this membership, you are inviting the guest. Guest means they will be participating in the event. They will have the right to share their thoughts in the event. They will have the right to give their recommendations, their suggestions, their reviews in the meeting, but they won't have the voting right. Voting right will be only and only with these 6 members. और ये जो guest है, obviously we will be calling the expert participants, and I would not use a word guest, rather I should use a word participant. मैंने समझाया तो सही कि you will be participating, you will be giving the review, you will be giving the recommendations, you will be giving the suggestions, but you won't have the right to vote. And you will be termed as what? You will be termed as expert participants from payment system, IT and law, but there is a permanent participant invited in this particular board. The name is Principal Legal Advisor of RBI, and currently who is he? So currently Unikrishnan A is the current Principal Advisor of RBI. समझ आई कहानी? अरे कहानी समझ आई? कोई दिक्कत यहां तक? कितने मेंबर्स हैं? सर 6 मेंबर हैं. 6 मेंबर हैं, जिनमें से 3 RBI ऑफिशियल्स हैं और 3 क्या है? सर 3 आर दी, रेस्ट 3 आर दी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट नॉमिनीज. ठीक है. दूसरा पॉइंट, सर हम एक्सपर्ट्स को इनवाइट करेंगे पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए. दे वोंट हैव दी वोटिंग राइट्स, जिनमें से पार्टिसिपेंट्स एक परमानेंट है, बाकी आप टाइम टू टाइम जिसे चाहे उसे बुला सकते हैं. अगला पॉइंट है, दिस बोर्ड विल मीट एट लीस्ट ट्वाइस इन 1 ईयर. तो आप you will be meeting at least twice in 1 year as per the requirement. Next point is, what are the powers and delegations? of PRB can delegated powers to the chairman, board members or subcommittees. This flexibility allows for efficient administration and quick response to emerging challenges. तो इसका मतलब क्या कि सर जब भी कभी जरूरत होगी, PRB can delegate its powers to the chairman or even to the sub members or even to the subcommittees in order to take the required actions. तो किसे अपॉइंट किया जा सकता है? सर नॉमिनेशन will be given to the members of age below 70 years. तो only and only members with age below 70 years are allowed to be nominated for PRB, that is Payment Regulatory Board, and free from conflict of interest. Free from conflict of interest मतलब ऐसा ना हो कि you are the owner of let's say one of the digital payment providing company, and right now you are appointed as, or you are appointed as participant, or you are invited as participant, or maybe you are a government official, and right now being a government official you are heading a government authority which is providing the payment facility. For example, the head of Beam cannot be the part of this particular head of Beam app cannot be the part of this particular board. It's basically conflict of interest. So these restrictions will ensure that board members are capable of making unbiased decisions that serve the public interest. For that particular reason, this code of I would say this particular point, conflict of interest, is taken into consideration. अब question आया sir voting. In case of voting, sir, we have 6 members. Every member will have same voting right, that is 1 member 1 vote each. So total votes are 6, but there is a probability. If 4 out of 6 members are in favor or they are not in favor, then the decision is taken. अगर फेवर में है तो डिसीजन फेवर में आ गया, अगर नॉट फेवर में है तो डिसीजन नॉट फेवर में आ गया. डिसीजन इज टेकन विद द हेल्प ऑफ सिंपल मेजॉरिटी. व्हाट इज सिंपल मेजॉरिटी? दैट इज 50 प्लस 1, 50% ऑफ टोटल मेंबर्स प्लस 1. लेकिन मान लो अगर टाई हो गया, 3:3 वोट्स हो गई, देन व्हाट सर? इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस, सेम केस याद करो ऑफ मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कमेटी. आरबीआई गवर्नर is not only the member of this board, RBI governor is also the chairman. So being the chairman of this particular board, he will cast 1 extra vote. So 1 extra vote will be casted by the chairman of the board, and luckily, fortunately, unfortunately, who is the chairman? Governor. So governor has already voted as per the authority to be the member of this board. Now he is voting with the authority to be the chairman of this particular board, and the decision will be taken. So that is known as the voting mechanism. Each member holds 1 vote. Decisions are made by the majority votes. Remember that majority votes among the voting members who are present. In case of tie, chairperson, that is RBI, will vote extra. But let's suppose if governor is not present in the meeting, then in that particular case, in the absence of the governor, deputy governor, who is the member of the board, has the second or casting vote to resolve the deadlock. तो अगर आरबीआई के गवर्नर उस दिन प्रेजेंट नहीं है, he is not in the meeting, then deputy governor will do that honor. Functions include PRB will be responsible for the regulation and supervision of payment system in India. PRB will be responsible to oversight digital and electronic payments in the country. It will ensure security, efficiency and accessibility of payment system, and it will work very closely with the departments of RBI in the process of policy formation. Is this point clear? In the process of policy formation. समझ आ गया? क्लियर हो गया? कोई दिक्कत, कोई परेशानी? नहीं, कोई टाइमिंग चेंज नहीं हुई है सैमिक, बिल्कुल भी टाइमिंग चेंज नहीं हुई है. इट्स जस्ट ड्यू टू सम फैमिली इश्यूज आई वाज नॉट एबल टू टेक क्लास येस्टरडे. तो आज 11 बजे क्लास लेने की कोशिश की, लेकिन टेक्निकल इश्यूज की वजह से क्लास नहीं हो पाई. सो फाइनली आई डिसाइडेड टू टेक इट जस्ट बिफोर मनीष सर सेशन, ताकि आपके पास फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर आज का पहुंच जाए. कल ये क्लास सेम टाइम 5 बजे ही होगी, और अगले आने वाले दिनों में 5 बजे ही होगी, ट्यूसडे, थर्सडे, सैटरडे. ठीक है जी. लास्ट इज कि सर ये सारी कहानी शुरू कहां से हुई? Why this entire story began? So this entire story began in 2018, जहां पे an interministerial committee which was led by Economic Affairs Secretary has proposed that we should set up an independent payments regulatory body or a payments regulatory board outside the purview of RBI. And RBI said, no, this is absolutely wrong. This is not acceptable. So RBI issued dissent note. Dissent note means I don't agree with your suggestion. I'm not in favor of the suggestion, because PRB must remain under the purview of RBI in order to ensure official efficiency. It opposed government majority nomination, citing conflict with finance bill announcements. So it said majority will not be with the government, majority will not be with the government as the number of members of this particular organization. So it's better we'll set up a new board which will have a balance between the RBI members as well as the government members. अब क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि सर पुराने और नए बोर्ड में क्या डिफरेंस है. पुराना बोर्ड क्या था? एज आई ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड, BPSS stands for what? Sir, BPSS stands for Board for Regulation and Supervision. Board for Regulation and Supervision of Payment and Settlement System. Board for Regulation and Supervision of Payment Settlement System. So this particular board was the existing regulatory board under RBI, but government ने कहा नहीं नहीं इसे change करो. Government said that we will be coming up with the independent body. RBI said no, independent body not possible. Majority of government officials in that body is not possible. Then RBI proposed a new body which is known as PRB, that is Payments Regulatory Board. Governing authority earlier was RBI, currently also RBI. Members earlier we had 5 members, now we have 6 members. Earlier all the members were from RBI, but now 3 members are from RBI and 3 members are nominated by the government. Earlier chairman was governor of RBI, today also the chairman is governor of RBI. Earlier there was no government nominee, now we have 3 central government nominee. Earlier there was no voting rights, or I would say voting rights, or how the decision was taken by BPSS, that was not publicly revealed, but now every member will have 1 vote and decision will be taken under simple majority. Now what is the cyclicity of the meeting? So this cyclicity was not defined earlier, but now it is mandatory to meet at least twice in 1 year. Expert participation was not specified earlier, but now it is clearly mentioned that experts from payment, IT and law will be the part of this particular board. Is this point clear, guys? क्या हुआ, क्यों हुआ, what happened, why it happened, why this organization has been set up, what was the conflict, how this conflict has been resolved. If all these things related to this is clear, just give me yes sir. This is something which has a probability that it can be asked in phase 2 examination. It can be asked in the phase 2 examination, and that too in paragraph based questions. So a paragraph will be given, and on the basis of the paragraph few questions are asked. You can expect 2 marker questions, paragraph based structure from this particular news, and if you have understood the news properly, it is going to help you a lot in the examination. Next news we have is related to 1 marker news from phase 1. I'll tell you why this news is important. The last line of this particular news will show the importance of this particular news itself. So what is this news all about? If I talk about this particular news, so Vivriti Asset Management has received a fresh commitment of $20 million, from Development Bank of Austria, which is based in Vienna, the capital of Austria. Or with the help of this 20 million commitment, the size of VI RAF. What is this VI RAF? Sir, it stands for Vivriti India Retail Asset Fund. This Vivriti India Retail Asset Fund is basically asset backed securitization, which was launched back in 2013, and it is based in Gift City. So this organization will serve a portfolio of around $165 million. तो यहाँ से 2 चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है. पहली चीज Vivriti Asset Fund, second is Development Bank of Austria. The tie-up, these 2 things are important. Let's check it out. So Vivriti Asset Management has secured a fresh commitment of $20 million in senior debt from Development Bank of Austria, and this amount will be used by the Vivriti India Retail Asset Fund in order to flourish its fund capital base, and this fund capital base will increase to $165 million. इससे ये पता चलता है कि जो the Development Bank of Austria is committed for investing in developing countries, especially which are aligned with green finance, small and microfinance development, and gender inclusion. So first point, why this news is important: Development Bank of Austria is committed to invest in developing countries, especially in the sectors like green finance, small and micro enterprise development, as well as gender inclusion. अब इन दोनों बातों को अगर हम दिमाग में रखें, this is very much clear. One second, guys. This is very much clear with this particular discussion only, that this news is important because of the sectors which have been targeted. Next point is, what is this VIRAF? Sir, it stands for Vivriti India Retail Asset Fund. It is an asset-backed securitization which was launched back in March 2023 at Gujarat International Finance Tech City International Financial Service Center in Gandhinagar, Gujarat, aims to raise a corpus of what value? That is $250 million. अब यहाँ पे आती है बात कि sir, why this news has been discussed in this particular session? The news has been discussed this particular session that this VIRAF is what? So VIRAF is the organization which is set up in Gift City, Gujarat, and this is the input for the foreign investors. So foreign investors, they can invest their funds in VIRAF, which is based in Gift City, and the amount which is invested in VIRAF is used for the purpose of small and medium enterprise development, as well as it is important, as well as this organization is providing loan for the women empowerment and serving the underserved communities. तो भैया important क्या हुआ, कहानी क्या है, कहानी को समझो जरा. कहानी बड़ी सिंपल है सर कि विवृति असेट मैनेजमेंट फंड की जो कंपनी है VIRF, उस कंपनी में इन्वेस्टमेंट हुई by the Development Bank of Austria, and that investment done by the Development Bank of Austria will be distributed with the help of NBFCs. VIRF ने बहुत सारे NBFCs, more than 35,000 NBFCs के साथ tie up किया है. More than 1 lakh individuals have been directly served in order to provide loan for small and micro enterprises development, for women empowerment, as well as for serving the underserved communities. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया पॉइंट. ओके, मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट न्यूज. द नेक्स्ट न्यूज सेज इन द RBI बुलेटिन, जैसा कि मैंने आपको कहा था, एज आई प्रॉमिस्ड अर्लियर, दैट RBI bulletin will also be covered in this particular session. Rather than covering the entire document, I will be covering one news from the RBI bulletin on regular basis, ताकि वो आपके लिए एक heavy भी ना हो और RBI bulletin आपके पास cover भी हो जाए. अब जो RBI bulletin मैं cover करने वाला हूं, या RBI bulletin की जो news I am going to cover, that is basically related to foreign currency account, or I would say non-resident deposit accounts. So if you are not residing in India, that means you are not the resident of India, in that particular case, you are allowed to open up 3 types of accounts. One we call it as NRE account, other one we call it as NRO account, and the third one we call it as, that is FCNR. Now the question over here is, what is the difference? NRE account, it stands for non-resident external rupee account. This is NRO, non-resident ordinary account, and then we have FCNR, that is foreign currency non-resident account. First let's discuss these 3 accounts, then we'll move ahead. Sir, ये जो foreign currency non-resident accounts है, these accounts can be opened by any non-resident. These accounts can be opened by any non-resident, and these accounts will be opened in specific currencies only. It will be opened in specific currencies only, which include, you can open these accounts in US dollars, और ऑस्ट्रेलियन डॉलर या फिर कैनेडियन डॉलर या फिर वी हैव येन, वी हैव यूरो, as well as we have sterling pound. So these are the 6 currencies in which you can open foreign currency non-resident account, and these foreign currency non-resident account, these are the term deposit accounts. These are the term deposit accounts. लेकिन उसके अलावा the other account we have is that is non-resident external rupee account. So non-resident external rupee account is basically an account. It is basically an account which is used by the non-resident Indian, in order to circulate, in order to distribute, in order to receive the funds from India, as well as circulate those funds, distribute those funds in the country itself. What I'm trying to say in this particular discussion, non-resident rupee account की अगर हम बात करें तो non-resident rupee account can be opened jointly by with an other non-resident or with a resident of the country, with a close relative, and they will be even allowed to operate these accounts. That means they will be given the power of attorney so that you can enjoy this particular account. Remember that withdrawal can be done in Indian rupees, but deposit will be done only and only in the foreign currency. This amount is repatriable, मतलब जब चाहो इसमें से पैसा आप वापस लेके जा सकते हो into your country जहां से आपने इस पैसे को forward किया. So I'll just give you an answer. NRE account helps the foreign or helps NRI, that is non-resident Indian, to remit his or her income back in India in foreign currency, and this foreign currency remitted amount can be withdrawn. This foreign currency remitted amount can be withdrawn whenever required in India in Indian rupees, or it can be transferred back to the nation of origin. Let's say अगर आप Canada में रहकर you are transferring the funds and you need the funds back in Canada, you can retransfer the funds without any limitation. This is known as NRE account. NRO account का मतलब है an NRI which is living in Canada, but he or she has opened up an account in India in order to deposit or in order to receive their Indian earnings. So if they have a flat in India and they are receiving the rent, that rent will be credited into this account, and this account funds can be withdrawn in India into the currency which we call it as INR. But if you want to transfer these funds back to Canada, there is a limit. There is a limit of $1 million. $1 million for one financial year. You cannot transfer more than $1 million in a financial year. That is the deposit value. But if you are transferring back the interest, then there is no limit, there is no boundation. Interest आपका है, आप जब चाहे जितना चाहे उतना वापस लेके जा सकते हैं. No one is going to stop you. ठीक है. अब बुलेटिन क्या कहता है? बुलेटिन कहता है कि सर recently as per the records in India there has been a data shared regarding the non-resident deposit scenarios, and the non-resident deposits has increased to 11-year high in the financial year 2024-25. Guys, I have a question for you all, and my question is, do you think these deposits are good for nation like India, or they are burden on the nation which is a developing country? It is a burden on nation which has huge import bills. What will be your answer to this? क्योंकि ये पैसा ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आपको ट्रांसफर किया गया. This is basically the deposits in the account. So if these are the deposits in the account, it is basically liability on the bank. And if it is liability on the bank, it is liability on government, it is liability on country, it is liability actually on RBI. क्यों? जब पैसा ट्रांसफर हुआ, it was transferred in foreign currency. Then that foreign currency was exchanged from RBI into rupees, and these rupees are being circulated into the Indian economy. और RBI ने उसी deposit, RBI ने जो वो currency को exchange किया, RBI has exchanged the currency against rupees, and that foreign currency become the part of forex reserves of the RBI. It becomes the part of forex reserves of the RBI. तो इस केस में This is good because our forex reserve is increasing, but on the other side, it is a liability on the bank. And whenever there will be a demand of withdrawal, whenever there is a demand of closure of the account, then RBI as well as bank will be liable to pay back the liabilities. So is it good or bad? Then my answer would be, sir, whenever we say good or bad, it is always comparative in nature. If you compare this to the external borrowings, that means the amount which you are borrowing from the external authorities, that is loan on you, that is again a liability on the nation, but with high rate of interest, where you have to pay very high rate of interest, you have to submit a collateral in order to borrow the loan. There is a risk of failure, there is a risk of crisis, there is a risk of loan to be declared as NPA, and if a loan borrowed by an Indian entity from an external authority, it is declared as NPA, it will impact the overall reputation of the country. So in comparison to external borrowings, external deposits are better. External deposits are better, but remember this, both of them are the liabilities on the nation itself. Both of them will be the part of the liabilities on the nation itself. Is this point clear? If it is clear, give me yes, sir. So total inflows, they have reached to a value of $16.16 billion, which has witnessed 9.9% year-on-year increase, which is 11-year high. So this is the increased, or I would say total inflow this year. And if I talk about the total outstanding NRI deposit, outstanding means liability, total outstanding NRI deposit in India is $164.7 billion as of March 2025, which was $115.9 billion in March 2024. And if you check the gap, this gap has increased by $16.16 billion, which has recorded year-on-year 9.9% increase, and this is 11-year high in the it is something which is highest in last 11 years. समझ आ गया? अब अगर हमसे कोई पूछेगा कि सबसे ज्यादा जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है इन तीनों में से वो कौन से अकाउंट में है या सबसे ज्यादा डिपॉजिट कौन से अकाउंट में, देन माय आंसर वुड बी सर NRE account holds the highest deposits. After NRE account we have the next one, that is FCNR, and the third one we have is NRO account. Third one we have is NRO account. Is this point clear, guys? So these are the deposit values which you can just have a look, just read it. These figures are not important, but yes, these two figures are really very important. In figures को आप याद कीजिएगा, and this difference is must to cover. This difference is something which is must to cover. Is this point clear, guys? Is this point clear? Okay. So that will be all, guys. That will be all in today's session. I have one more news, but I won't be discussing it right now because you have your next session at 5 p.m. I also have my next session at 4 p.m. I will be covering that news in the tomorrow's session. I can just give you a glimpse which news I'm talking about. RBI latest outward remittance. RBI has given the latest data on the outward remittance related to liberalized remittance scheme. So this news will be discussed in the tomorrow session. Nothing to worry. So thank you so much for joining, guys. I hope कुछ नहीं से कुछ जो हमने cover कर लिया, that is always good. Something is always better than nothing. So do go through with this PDF. Do cover these news. These news has a great potential that it can be asked directly in phase 1 as well as phase 2 examination. Thank you so much for joining. We'll catch you in the next session. Bye bye, guys. Take